One problem modern-day Christianity must endure is the existence of cultic churches. Brian Chilton, in his article 10 Signs of a Cultic Church, explains the difference between an authentic church and a cultic church. He says, "Authentic churches are the body of Christ. They are the assemblies of baptized believers who fully adopt biblical principles and have the freedom to grow and develop in their relationship with Christ. Cultic churches are aberrations of the authentic church." Several such churches or cults come to mind in recent history. The Branch Davidians came to the forefront of the news on April 19, 1993, when their compound called Ranch Apocalypse in Waco, Texas, was overrun by the ATF, an offshoot of the Seventh-day Adventist was begun by Victor Houteff in 1943 and made infamous by David Koresh throughout the late 80s and the early 90s. The polygamist cult in El Dorado, Texas, was part of the fundamentalist Latter-day Saints, an offshoot of the Mormon religion founded in 1932 and currently led by Warren Jeffs. The Yearning for Zion Ranch, which was built by Jeffs, was raided on April 8, 2008, where more than 400 children, mostly girls, have been swept into state custody from a polygamous sect in what the authorities described as the largest child welfare operation in Texas history. This comes from an article in the International Herald Tribune from the same date. The Assembly of Christian Soldiers is Ku Klux Klan based, and there is a sect called the UFO Christians. One that I found is called the Aetherius Society, and it combines UFO theories, Hinduism, Buddhism, yoga, and Christianity. There is the Westboro Baptist Church that is known for its use of inflammatory hate speech, especially against LGBT people, Catholics, Orthodox Christians, Muslims, Jews, American soldiers, and politicians. Illuminating information about this church comes from its own website, which is www.godhatesfags.com. Now, historians are supposed to be objective in their observations and their investigations, which means that I cannot give my opinion on these, although I'd really like to, but I'd probably overrun my time limit. Back to Chilton's article. Cultic churches are distinguished from cults in that their theology may be close to orthodoxy or right beliefs. However, upon further investigation, most cultic churches border on heresy. In contrast, cults are completely separated from Christian orthodoxy in their beliefs. Clearly, modern Christians are given a bad name by these activities of these and other cultic churches. We live in a time when Christian teachings that were once believed sacred and just are now viewed as hateful, divisive, and evil. This comes from the bad press of the cultic churches. People see on their TV news broadcasts what these so-called churches are involved with and the numbers of people they hurt, and make the leap that all Christians are like these on the news. It becomes very difficult to prove to people that real Christians are loving and strive to do God's work every day. The song, "They'll Know We Are Christians," is a Christian hymn written in 1968 by then Catholic priest Peter Scholtes. It's inspired by John chapter 13, verse 35, and reminds us that our actions speak louder than our words. Christians must practice turning the other cheek. In the Bible, in Matthew chapter 22, verses 36 through 40, a person who was very knowledgeable about Jewish law tried to trap Jesus into contradicting the Holy Scriptures by asking, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments." I believe this is true. Now, if we are to love in this way, how can it be right to hate anyone the way Westboro Baptist Church or the Assembly of Christian Soldiers does? We are commanded in Romans chapter 13, verses 1 through 7, that everyone must submit himself to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. If we do this, How can we take advantage of children the way the Branch Davidians and the FLDS has done?